Today I'm building a Bitcoin miner with zero experience in soldering or any electrical work. Hold on. One thing we have to do first. By the end of this video, you're gonna learn what it takes to build a Bitcoin miner at home with zero skills or any previous expertise in electrical work. We're gonna go through some serious errors, but we're gonna get there. So grab some tea, coffee, and well, even maybe a cinnamon bun. At one point, we're gonna use this oven to bake the Bitcoin miner. So I thought I need some snacks. So Joran here is gonna help me manage through GitHub, ordering all the parts, ordering the board, right? What else? Parts, board.
All the necessary tools to produce.
I've heard we will need
ourselves. Yeah.
I heard we will need even an oven.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go through that. What do we do first? If you want to see how we ordered every part and went through the whole GitHub to set up this Bitaxe build, then the episode is already live on our YouTube channel. I'm gonna link it down in the description. But we go through every step to order everything we need for this build. So in case you guys want to do this too, then it's a very helpful video to watch. So I'm gonna link it down in the description. But now let's get back to building the Bitaxe. So what's next? We got our components, we got our oven. Now me and Joran are gonna set up a thermometer inside the oven so we can precisely know the temperature. So when we actually bake the Bitcoin miner, we know when to take it out. But now let's hit the workstation. We have gotten ourselves to the workstation. The first step is the stencil, right?
Yep.
And with Joran's high energy motivation, I had no doubt that I'm gonna stencil the shit out of this Bitaxe board and nail it first try.
So, should I start from the top?
Yep.
And with that reassurance, I gave it my best. And here is how it went.
Well, now you can lift it up. All right.
What do you think?
I think we should try and do it better.
Okay, first time didn't go as good as I thought it would, but I cleaned off the stencil, and with little help from Joran, we adjusted the stencil more precisely, and I tried again.
Okay, we already got some paste on here, so it's fine.
It's Andy from the future here. Please press like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you very much.
Looks better now.
It does.
Okay, I think we're good.
Now the next part is adding all the little components on the board. What are the steps to make this work, Joran?
You need components, tweezers, and a bill of materials. Sometimes you need a board view, but well, since all the designators are here, we will use the BOM, and if we need, we will open the PCB file.
All right. Are we searching for something specific first, or it's any order?
Well, since the BOM is in alphabetical order, we will start with the capacitors.
So here I just kind of cleaned up the space, and check out how small these components are.
I'll show you guys. It's like a little guide. Is this the correct side?
It doesn't have any polarity.
Oh.
For ceramic capacitors, you can put it
Anyhow, okay.
So this little part, this was the first component to go on the board. Like, until I got to actually adjusting my hands to picking up parts this freaking small, it was like 15 minutes.
Yep, that's good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah, when the paste will melt, it will kind of go into the right spot anyways. Perfect.
Nice.
Now we kind of put out all the components on the table and kind of gave it a little order so I can just pick from a pile and then look at this map in KiCad and kind of just manage through this process alone, as it took like really much time. It took like 3 hours to complete one side of the board with all the little components. So I just kind of left Joran alone because he has, you know, an actual duty in this company besides making YouTube videos with me. But this was a fun process, you know. I just kind of a little bit meditating process to put all of these little components on the board. So yeah, I just kind of did that for a couple of hours. It's time to bake the first half of the board, and then flip it around, put on the components, and bake it again. So basically the baking process includes some steps of ramping up the temperature, letting it stay on that temperature, then cooling it down, and then ramping the temperature up again. In simple language, is just up and down to make sure everything is soldered on correctly. Okay, we're taking out the Bitaxe board. A legendary moment. Hey, everything looks good. Let the specialist have a look. Then Joran took a look at my master work, and well, everything was fine. Now it's time for the ASIC chip in the other side of the board. Nice. Now this is the time we are taking the other stencil for the other side, and we're gonna stencil the shit out of this other side. Yes. The process here is just the same as the other side. Just gotta, thank you. Gotta be precise, homie. And now we basically repeat the process that we did for the first half, but this time it's very important not to fuck up putting on the ASIC chip, which is the main part of this Bitcoin miner that does all the calculations so we could even have a chance of mining Bitcoin. But this was actually a lot easier than the first side. All the components were much bigger and easier to handle, and well, I think it went really well. I've laid all the components on both sides. Now we're gonna bake this side. I really hope everything works first try. This is good?
Good enough, yeah.
All right, let's close it up. Now it's the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Now we kind of wait out the process again of heating it up, then just kind of cooling it down and heating it up again so everything is getting soldered on correctly. Also, a cool thing is if you're close up in person, you can actually see the little solder paste metals attaching themselves at the melting point. They attach themselves to the components, which is really cool to see. I'm gonna put up a video here from a YouTuber who actually filmed it. Really good, and you can see how all the little metal balls, like, they attach themselves to the metal parts. Oh, look what dropped.
Yeah, it did.
What is that?
Probably because of the heat, but
Look, so one of the little parts, because of the heat, actually dropped. So that ended day 1. We headed home, and this is from day 2. All right, so some components have changed their position on the board. Why does that even happen, or happen this time maybe?
the biggest thing that happened is that the inductor fell off just because of its weight. Other than that, there is only one capacitor that is a little bit skewed. Everything else looks good. What we need to do is a little bit of a touch up with that capacitor, then we're gonna solder on the inductor, and after that we're gonna manually solder the fan connector and the display.
Okay. After that, I soldered on the fan connector, then the display connector, and in the end, finally, I put on the heatsink. You were saying that this is done with the assembly, for now at least, if it works.
If it works.
So this might be the moment I actually completed a whole Bitaxe.
Well, let's hope so.
Might be.
Yeah.
I'm pretty hyped, I'm not gonna lie. What's next, Professor?
We're gonna flash the firmware.
Let's get the computer. So we got my computer and started flashing on the firmware. Now for the first couple of tries, actually, the web page, we couldn't actually connect to the Bitaxe. It was like turning on and off the signal, and we thought it maybe was the Type-C port. Then we thought it may be like the board itself, because we used the 600 board, not the newest one, which is 602, and ran in a couple of problems. And after that, this happened.
Jörn just told me that it's getting like really hot behind the chip, right?
Yeah, there's like, not like really hot, it's warm.
Yeah, not good.
Did you change something, or did it randomly
I don't know,
work?
I unplugged the DC jack and plugged it in and it stopped flashing. So I don't know what I did, but the main thing is to hold the boot button while powering it on.
All right.
Okay, soon it will finish, and then we will see the self-test at first. It will perform.
Will we see something on the screen?
Yeah, well, in theory we should. If we won't, then we will know that there's something wrong. Now we can see that the device has been restarted, but we do not see anything on the screen. That is probably a bad sign, but we'll restart the device. Maybe it will. Okay. Just needed to unplug it and plug it again.
All right.
And now it is performing a self-test, and after this one we will see if we soldered the ASIC chip correctly or... Alright, self-test passed. That is a surprise. And we are on the setup screen, I guess.
So we can set it up.
First try, yeah.
So I went through the setup process of setting up the Bitaxe, and well, I was just hoping it's gonna work.
Great, it's hashing. Congrats.
Oh shit!
Hell yeah.
Man. Yeah, let's go. Nice.
It's that easy.
You only need an electrical engineer by your side, and that's it. No, you could probably, people could figure it out.
Yeah.
We can leave it here, right? For a little bit,
Yeah,
so it tests out. And if everything good, then it's good. And let's put it in a case.
And I wanted a really cool case, so I actually found this on Thingiverse when I typed in Bitaxe cases, and it is this video from Altered Component where he makes this guy's 3D model for this Bitaxe case. He has a video where he puts it together, but I left that to Jörn to work out on how to put it in the case, because I had like really important marketing stuff to do meanwhile. But you see, it took him like 5 minutes, so it's okay. And we got the Bitaxe robot ready. Check it out. So here it is, the final product, a Bitaxe Gamma, a little solo Bitcoin miner I built myself, of course, with a lot of help from Jörn. Shout out to him. Also, shout out to this sick ass case by 3D Print and VR. All the links, as I said, are down in the description. This was a very fun journey to go on. I did not expect to build my own Bitcoin miner this year or ever, so this was very exciting. Definitely comment down below on what else should I try to build, or any ideas you have I should do. Maybe I should build a NerdQX++. Damn, that would be a hard one. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, press like, and I'll be sure to have a new exciting video for you guys in the following week. See ya. But before you go, this episode was 2 episodes combined into one. So if you want to see the shopping list of where we order every part that we need for this build, that is linked in the description. That was episode 1. And also, if you want to see actually some trouble that we went through till we got the Bitaxe to actually work, we had to change like the heatsink and a lot of things that I did not include in this video. That is also already on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in an extended version of these videos, then you go and watch that. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.